All right, guys, this is the first episode of The Nerd is the Word. I am Josh.
And I'm Jeff.
And what this is, basically, it's just a podcast where we sit here and we shoot the shit about nerd stuff. Be it comic books, movies, games. If it has a pop culture feel, we talk about it. Now, we've been talking about doing this for a long time. And for how long have we been talking about doing this, man?
Jesus. Well, it's November. Like, we've probably been talking about this since, like...
Easily a year.
Easily, like, a good solid month to, like, January of this year.
Yeah.
So, like, at least, like, 10 months.
At least. And now that we finally have a place that we can do it, you know, it's more of like... When I was in the apartment, we had nowhere we could do this thing.
Yeah.
It was a matter of either my roommate was home, or me and Serena are out doing stuff. You know, we had my dining room that we could record in, but that echoed.
And neighbors.
But now that we got the new place, once we get the office finished, it'll be easier, but...
Yeah, and then we'll be able to get some camera action for you guys. So you can see us, too.
But, I mean, it's been something we've been talking about for a while, and I'm glad we can actually finally do it. Because there's been a lot of topics I wanted to talk with you about on here. I mean, we talk about it just texting each other every day, you know, when we work together.
Oh, yeah.
Every day. But, I mean, like Far From Home, when it first came out, that would have been amazing if we would have thought about this. Because we hadn't even thought about this when Far From Home came out, had we?
When did Far From Home? I feel like
From Home...
It was... Oh, yeah, that was right after I first started working there. Because I took the day... I used 8 hours of time when I finally got it and went and saw it in IMAX.
I remember when Endgame came out. I think that was... I know you were working there because I think that's when we first started talking.
Yeah.
And I remember you vividly went, if you spoil Endgame for me, we're gonna have problems. And I was like, well, okay. I mean, I wasn't going to anyways, but no. Far From Home came out June or July of 19?
It was like July of last year.
Yeah, like it was. There was not a lot of time between Endgame and Far From Home.
No, because that was like a May to July.
Yeah,
thing, so.
It was. There was enough time for the true Marvel heads to watch Endgame, so that when they go to Far From Home, they know what's going on. It's not like wait, Tony Stark's dead? It's like, okay, yeah, we know Tony Stark's dead. Yeah. You know, we know what happened with Cap. We know what happened with Black Widow. You know. Yeah,
that's why they even waited to like put out the trailer for Far From Home until after, at least like a week after.
Yeah, I mean,
like Endgame came out to give like spoiler time for people to go see it.
What still gets me though, and it was one thing I did not like about the marketing for that, was they announced Far From Home way too early. And I think they released it way too early too. And that's just my opinion, but they released Far From Home. They released information about Far From Home, like basically just the plot and like Mysterio is going to be the villain, and they showed the new suit. But Endgame hadn't come out yet. It was still in that black period where, you know, people who didn't read the comics were like, oh my god, Spider-Man's dead, he's gone forever, and Marvel was like, oh yeah, they're gone forever, and everyone was like, yeah,
wink.
Yeah, everyone's gone, they're gone forever, wink wink, just like when they released the trailers for Far From Home, it's like, don't trust Mysterio, and Spider-Man fans are like, yeah, no shit. Just like, really? Are you gonna try and pull the wool over our eyes? But I think they released that. I just think they released that all that far too early. I feel like if they would have waited a little bit between Endgame and then announced it, and they could have announced it and immediately dropped it, and that would have been fine. But for the people who didn't know what was going on after Infinity War, and people who thought Spider-Man was dead, it was kind of like you told us this, you showed us Spider-Man's dead, and now, like, a couple months later, boom, the new Spider-Man movie's coming out. It just kind of felt inconsistent, which, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Movie was great. I cried when I saw the Mysterio sequence and when Happy goes into the flower field.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, prove it's you. And Peter hugs him and is like, it's so beautiful. I mean, hell, me and Brandon went to go see it. And when they announced the villain, I was like, oh my god, it's Mysterio. And he's like, who the hell is Mysterio? And I was like, don't worry, dude, I got you. And then we went to go see it. And when they showed the first sequence of Mysterio, like, he jumps down and you don't want any part of this, and he's shooting the lasers, I'm like fangirling, and he's just looking at me. And we got in the car after the movie, and we were driving back, and he goes, I didn't know why you were so excited about Mysterio, but now I know. I was like, I know, right? Just driving, it's so beautiful.
That's actually not the first time we were supposed to get Mysterio, because we were supposed to get it in Spider-Man 4 or the Raimi Spider-Man.
It was supposed to be Bruce Campbell, I think.
Yeah.
The chin.
Because it was because that was the thing, was he had like a little cameo in all three of the movies, and then in movie number 4 he was supposed to be revealed as Mysterio as part of like a little montage at the beginning of like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man like capturing different bad guys.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to like show up as in the Mysterio outfit and all.
Which I would have really loved to see Sam Raimi's Mysterio outfit. I mean, I'm sure it won't be much different from the Marvel Studios one, because really, there's only, if I remember right, there's only one Mysterio outfit. I mean, it looks the same through all the spectrums. It's not like Green Goblin's had like 170 outfits. I mean, Doc Ock had maybe 3. And they all kind of vary, like Electro's got like 87, Shocker, Scorpion, I mean.
Yeah, I think because they had like set design photos of it, and I feel like it looked pretty similar from what I saw, but it was, it's just kind of like the little accent pieces, like that would be the only thing that was different, and I don't know. The only like visual that I saw of him in the outfit didn't have the fishbowl on because they wanted to show who it was.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe there would have been like a reveal for that where he would have showed up like in fishbowl like during like a fight where they captured him, and then it would be revealed that it was Bruce Campbell the whole time.
Yeah.
But
let's kind of backtrack a little bit. I totally got off topic.
As we tend to do.
As we tend to do. We've done it the entire time we've known each other.
This is not going to be the last time we do it either.
Oh, no. But, we set up the Facebook page and all that, and let's just let them know about us, how we met, what our interests are. So, when we we both have very harsh opinions on things. You have your harsh opinion on Tool, which, but that's a conversation for a different day. But, what made you want to do this podcast?
It honestly, like, I just love the conversations that we'd have in the back room at work. Like, it could be about anything and everything, and, like, just us talking together. Usually it would end up of, like, I would say something, you'd be like, oh, that was really cool. What if they did this, too? And it's like, it just... like, all these, like, crazy cool ideas just, like, kept coming. And
we could just bounce off of each other.
Yeah, like, coming from just us talking, like, us together could, like, come up with, like, even crazier things. And, I mean, it was just, like, really fun. And I've always wanted to, like, get into, like, doing stuff like this. And I love to talk. You know me. I obviously love to talk.
And you know me. I can't shut up.
So here we are.
Oh, yeah.
Talking.
And with me, it's the same way. It originally started off with, I was never sure I was going to start a podcast. And, we met at work, and it became, we had little conversations, just like, hey, you see that? Yeah, okay. And then we, go and work and all that. And then it became, like with Endgame, it was okay, hey, let me ask you this. And then, and then it slowly built more and more and more to where it's like, I'm texting you like, dude, did you hear about this shit? Did you hear that Amber Heard is acting up? You hear that Warner Brothers just fucked Johnny Depp? I mean, and the theories were always one of my favorites. That was always fun. That and the, like the casting things we do, you know, like the who would you cast for, you know, Justice League? We'd hit, or who would you put for like a Justice League? And be like, you know, I didn't think that you'd put, you know, Plastic Man, or I didn't think you'd put Red Tornado, you know, I mean.
And even just like, you know, like actors themselves and like put them in roles. I remember that conversation we had back there one day. I don't remember who I came up with at the time.
Neither do I, but I remember.
But I remember you were just like in awe of like, oh my God, that would be the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I can't remember who it was. I think it was your Batman. I can't remember who you cast for Batman. But I remember sitting there like, why the fuck didn't I think of that?
Oh yeah, I wanted it to be. I remember that because I wanted it to be not Bruce Wayne but Terry McGinnis.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be played by Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, which.
And then you have Michael Keaton basically be Bruce Wayne, but take up the Alfred role and be like the guy in the chair as opposed to Batman.
Yeah, which, and I 100% am down with that. And I love Michael B. Jordan. You know, and what's great about him is he doesn't always do like nerdy or pop culture roles. But he is ingrained in pop culture.
Yeah, like that's something that he wants to do anyways, not necessarily that like he is part of the culture before even appearing in the culture.
It's like, you know, he was in Creed, which I love the Creed movies. You know, I love the Rocky movies. You know, if Sly is in it 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna watch it.
Yo, Adrian.
But like he was great in that. He was great in what's that other thing? Just Mercy.
I don't think I've seen that.
It was pretty good. But his Killmonger,
probably one of the, I'd say, guaranteed top 3 villains in the entire MCU.
And it was shocking because I was never a Black Panther guy, and it wasn't, you know, oh my God. It was like, you know, I tried. You know, the character didn't really appeal to me. I mean, I appreciate him for what he was, but Marvel doing Black Panther turned me into a Black Panther fan. I mean, I like Chadwick Boseman, you know, rest in peace.
Oh, absolutely.
Great actor. Amazing actor. I think he'll go down in history as Black Panther. I mean, he played Jackie Robinson, and he was in, what was that, 22 Bridges, I think. I think that's the, I think the Russo brothers did that. He's been in a bunch of stuff, but for me, when I look at him, I'm always going to see Black Panther. And I'm sure that's the same for a lot of people. And I honestly have no room to talk. I'm a white dude from Georgia. I have zero room to talk. But, you know, when an actor dies, just like Sean Connery. When anybody asks me what I think about Sean Connery, it is not James Bond. It is Alan Quatermain from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's Indiana Jones's dad.
That was going to be mine. I'm first going to think of James Bond, but you know, like my favorite 2 performances were Quatermain from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and just I have seen that movie with him as Indiana Jones' dad so many times, and I love it every single time. Because I couldn't picture anybody else.
No. I couldn't.
Like, I really couldn't.
One of the funniest parts of that movie is when they're on that beach, and I think they're getting chased by the Nazi planes, and he grabs an umbrella, and he's fucking seagulls with the birds. That and the when the tank or whatever goes over the cliff, and him and the dude that played Gimli from Lord of the Rings, what was his name? Can't remember his name right now. John Rhys Davies, I think. I think that's what it is. But when they're looking over and they're like, "Oh my God, he's dead," and Indy looks over and is like,
"What are y'all looking?
What are you guys looking at?" And he looks over, and he's just looking at him like, "You're screwing with me, right?" And then he hugs him. But it's just like that, and I mean, Alex Trebek. I mean, it's just like Sean Connery, Alex Trebek.
Oh, the Saturday Night Live skits. I love those so much.
I watched I think I sent you the video of the compilation of all the funniest parts, and Serena's 100% done with it, by the way, because now I play it to annoy her. But when when he's sitting there and he's, I'll take horse semen for 200. And he gets up, he walks over, what are you doing? And he goes, see, whore, like your mother, and semen is, horseman. That will get me every single time. I'm going to laugh. But no, I mean, and once again, got off topic. Let's backtrack a little bit. What are your interests? Like, via pop culture, I know you're a big sports guy.
Oh, yeah, sports is kind of really, sports is still my first love. So if anybody wants to talk like sports, like in the comments or whatever, like I will be down to do, any sport, but like maybe like soccer. I don't mind soccer. I just don't know a lot about soccer per se. Like I don't mind it. Like I said, I just don't know anybody. I was about to say, we got Atlanta United. They brought home a title to Atlanta, and that's been the only one in like 20 years. But, like I'll be down to talk sports anytime. It's what I majored in college, is sport management. But, like I've always been a nerd at heart too. And I mean, I love, like I've played trading card games my whole lives, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball Super. I've always been like a big Batman guy. He's still my favorite. But, the MCU's kind of gotten me out of my DC shell. Yeah. And just kind of let me explore different things. But, I'm still a big DC guy at heart. Not a big Superman fan, but DC guy at heart. But, I mean, I love music. I was in band growing up, too. So, like, music is a big thing with me. Like, I've seen tons of movies. Maybe not as many as you, but I've definitely, like, seen, a lot of older stuff along with newer stuff as well. Thanks to my dad just, like, showing me some of, like, his favorite things. I mean, still, Blazing Saddles is one of the best movies of all time.
Where are white women at?
Morons.
Yeah.
Spaceballs, obviously, like Star Wars has always been a big thing. Like, I remember going to see, I feel like I saw episode 1 in theaters, but I'm not like, it's kind of like right there on the verge of like where you remember stuff and don't, like from your childhood. But I know I went to see episode 2, episode 3. Those are just, like, I remember going to the movie theater to see episode 3 and watching dudes with plastic lightsabers like fight outside the movie theater.
I remember when Rogue One came out. I went with my sister and my brother-in-law, and I think her friend and his. Anyways, I had gotten there late because I was working, and luckily the movie hadn't started yet. It was, I think it was the premiere for it over at the House on Lake Cinemas, and I text her, I was like, I'm in the parking lot, and she comes out and she goes, I want you to be warned. I was like, oh, okay. And she goes, there are some people dressed up. And I was like, oh, it's a given. I mean,
that's the usual.
It's with a Star Wars, even with a Marvel movie. I mean, when
people show up in suits.
Well,
not suits, but suits.
Yes. But like when Endgame came out, I went in my Funko Pop Tony Stark shirt. And everyone else had a Marvel Funko Pop shirt, and Brandon's sitting there in a white t-shirt. It was like, I didn't know there was a dress code. I was like, have you never gone to see a Marvel movie? I mean, you've seen the shirts. I have plain shirts, but there's never like, anything that's not something nerdy.
I mean, I've got on a Rick and Morty shirt right now.
That is true. But like, anyway, so she goes, there are people dressed up. So we walk into the theater, and right when you walk in, there's a dude in a scout trooper costume just sitting there. I was like, respect.
Oh yeah, what was it? I think it was for episode 7 maybe. I remember going to see it, and there were like, it was like these 3 people dressed up. It was like 2 stormtroopers and Darth Vader. And I was like, I feel like they saw the movie and then got done with the movie and just stood in the movie theater lobby for 3 hours.
It happens.
And just had people taking pictures with them. Like, I mean, full, like, this was not like a kid's Halloween costume.
You paid some money for it.
Yeah, somebody paid a lot of money for these things. And I mean, they look fantastic.
They usually do, honestly. I mean, but my interests are kind of the same. You know, I'm a nerd at heart. I mean, I've been reading comics and all that since, God, easily middle school. From elementary school and all that, I was interested, but I didn't understand it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that's different with us is like you grew up on the comic books, whereas I never really, like, I still don't think I've read a single one.
Yeah.
I just kind of like whenever like these movies and whatnot come out, like I'll go like research about the books, but like I've never actually physically read one.
Right.
And
then,
and then you're a big Lord of the Rings guy, whereas I watched all the movies like when they came, because I remember those coming out when I was a kid, and like that was like a thing, and I've seen them all, but it never really resonated. I haven't seen the newer ones, like the Hobbit. Like I never watched. I've not seen a single one of the Hobbit movies.
Well, the reason why I like Lord of the Rings so much is it's mainly stemming off of my family. Because my grandfather is a huge Lord of the Rings guy. I mean, he has every piece of literature that Tolkien wrote. I mean, and he collects. I mean, and it's been ingrained in me. You know, my uncle loved it. You know, with me, I do enjoy it. I mean, I read The Hobbit in elementary school. I mean, and that was just something I did.
Ooh, how many AR points was that?
Yeah. But, like, with me, it's, you know, I love Lord of the Rings, you know, I'm a TV show guy, too, like Supernatural. I have not seen the last couple seasons, mainly because when I finished season 12, it was when I was working at Geico, and after I had my wreck, I wrapped it up, and I had to wait, like, 3 months. No, actually, I had to wait probably about a year for it to come on Netflix, and at that point, I had kind of forgotten what all happened. So now I have to rewatch it all, but, you know, Supernatural, Arrow, Flash, you know, Gotham, wasn't a big fan. It was an okay show, but, like their version of Bane sucked. Their Riddler was good. The Penguin was good. Their Joker wasn't that great. Their Zaz wasn't that great. I mean, I didn't really enjoy their rendition of the villains, but I also understand... You know, if they would have put me in charge of it, it'd have been perfect. It'd have been perfect, man, I'm telling you. It'd have been straight Batman the Animated Series, but, you know, they don't want that. But, I mean...
Yeah, I remember seeing the Arrow show. Like, I was always, like, I love superheroes and stuff. And I remember when that show came on, because at the time, CW had the deal with Hulu. Mm-hmm. And so I had Hulu, and, like, it just kind of, like, popped up one day. And I was like... You know, I'll give this a try. And I have not missed an episode since.
When Arrow first came out, I think I saw the trailer. And I didn't know it was a Green Arrow show. Because when they showed the trailer, they marketed it as like a DC show. But also they didn't. Like, the marketing was also like, you can take this either way. So I didn't know it was a Green Arrow show. I
didn't even see a trailer. Like I said, it popped up like when it was on Hulu, and it was only episode 1 because it was just, I was looking for something to watch that day, and it just like popped up, and it was like, oh yeah, new as of yesterday. I was like, oh, okay, because that was around the time that I was actually able to. That was back when Hulu was free with ads.
Oh yeah.
And then if you paid, you got like it was free. And you just had to wait 7 days to watch something on there. And if you paid, you could watch it next day.
Right.
Now I had to pay more money just so I won't get ads.
Yeah.
But it just kind of like popped up one day, and I was like, you know, I'll give this a try. And I thought it was great. It was interesting. It's something I had never seen before. And like just kind of reading the little synopsis, like I kind of figured out that it was about Green Arrow and like the DC hero. Yeah. I was like, I like this. Maybe it'll, have like some playability factor, because it's kind of like a Batman story, just a little different. And
he's still a billionaire superhero. I mean, no powers.
And I love I love the idea of them starting kind of like in the middle of the story, and then like the flashback, like the flashback aspect.
It helps tell the story of, look, we're not going to spend all this time on Lian Yu. We're going to show him what he's doing, and if there's some backstory needed, here's the backstory.
Yeah, and I
So
mean,
there's really no confusion.
And the fact that they were able to get 4 seasons of backstory
It's
of his time missing.
It's great writing. I mean, Stephen Amell, I think...
I don't want anyone else to play Oliver Queen but him.
No. I mean, I think the only thing I'd ever seen Stephen Amell in before that was maybe New Girl. I think maybe New Girl. And I know he was in that for a couple episodes, but I mean, after that, I mean, he played Casey Jones in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sequel.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't the best Casey Jones, but it was a Casey Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, Stephen Amell, great actor. Fantastic actor.
I just think he just epitomizes that character. It was so good that they even had him in Injustice.
Yeah, he had his skin.
They had a playable skin with his voice recordings.
And I really dig it, him playing the Green Arrow. It was because the Green Arrow in the comics is usually he's kind of quippy. He's kind of he's funny. This was a Green Arrow that was like, look, he's serious about what he does. What he does, it's not a game. It's not a joke. I mean, and yeah, it's a superhero thing. I get that. But if you're going to make a superhero movie, you need to have some realism in it. Like, you need to have a, look, if you screw up, this is who it's going to affect. It's going to affect, like, his mom. You know,
yeah, they did that aspect very well.
Very well. And they also
between Thea and like all the things that went on with his mother and Tommy Merlin in that show.
What I really enjoyed also was it showed consequences.
Yeah.
And it also showed like in the Spider-Man, like some of the older stuff, he had consequences, but it was really kind of like it was a kid's thing. So it was, oh my gosh, be a superhero. It's not going to affect anybody. And in Arrow, it was like he's neglecting his family. I get that what he's doing is important. I understand that. And he's saving a lot of people. But he's still neglecting his family. His friends, his sister, his mom, they lost him for, 5 years, I think?
Yeah, I think it was about 5 years.
For 5 years, and then he comes back, and he's just a shadow. He's not the Oliver that they lost. This is a new... I don't want to say
changed version of...
Yeah, it's a whole new thing. And I mean, I really enjoyed Stephen Amell's portrayal of the Green Arrow. Just like I love Grant Gustin's portrayal of the Flash.
Oh yeah.
He is amazing. I think he's better than Ezra Miller.
Yeah, I really wish they would have I wish they would have just taken the time to sit and look at how good that Flash TV show is, and just not recast.
Oh yeah.
Not make a movie Barry Allen and a TV show Barry Allen. Now I will say what they did at was it the beginning of this last season of the Flash where they had the little crossover between them. I thought that was kind of cool because it just kind of it fits with the with the whole multiverse comic thing, and it's like it basically says that it's like, yeah, we know, but we they thought of it enough that they were like, yeah, like we can throw him in the
and I mean,
and I wonder if that's actually going to have consequences for like the actual movies going forward.
That's what I'm thinking too. And I mean, it's kind of like what I posted on the page the other day. This Flash movie is becoming it's everybody's movie except the Flash's. I mean, they're talking about Christian Bale coming back. I think he's in talks. Michael Keaton's back. Affleck is back. They're throwing a bunch of other people. I think I'm not sure. I think I read this somewhere that they said that the original Wonder Woman actress from the old TV show is going to be in it. Like it's.
Oh, you mean the principal in Sky High?
Yeah. Like it's becoming something really big, and I love every second of it.
That by the way is one of my favorite just random like funny lines in terms of like an actress's or an actor's like past roles, where when she's like at the end of that movie and they're in detention and she's like, I'm not Wonder Woman, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you are Wonder Woman.
Exactly. I mean...
That was just such a funny line. And like a movie that like I hope never gets lost, because that was hilarious.
That movie was an overall great movie. I mean...
I bet it could have been done better, but it was a Disney movie, right?
I believe so.
I think like there's like Disney has their own rules with some of that stuff back then for like the made-for-TV movies.
Yeah, it's kind of like now Disney don't care.
No,
it's like Cartoon Network doesn't care. They know these kids are gonna understand what they're talking about. But no, let me get your opinion on a couple things. All right, I know that you saw the first 2 episodes of this season of Mando.
Yes.
You know, we talked about them. The first episode...
Yes, I've seen the first episode and the filler episode.
Yeah. The first episode, I really dug. I thought it was really good. I loved... Who was it? Timothy Olyphant?
Yeah, Timothy Olyphant as the sheriff.
Yeah.
Oh, and when they left to go talk to the Sand People, and he was riding on a speeder bike made of what I'm 99.9% sure was young Anakin's pod racer bits. Oh.
It's such excellent callbacks, and it's like, we were watching it, and when he walks in the bar, and you can obviously see, even from that angle, that it's Boba Fett's armor. I'm sitting there looking at Sarah, and I was like, it's Boba Fett! It's Boba Fett's armor! And she was like, is that Boba Fett? I was like, no, there's no way they start with Boba Fett. And she was like, but why not? I was like, because if you start with Boba Fett, I was like,
you have to end with Jango at that point.
I was like, if you start with Boba Fett, that's like skipping the whole baseball game and just getting the score at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, and she was like, okay, and then she was intentionally pissing me off going Boba Fett, and I was like, you need to leave this room right now. but like, I thought it was very cool to see that. But also, did you hear the theory that that's not Boba Fett at the end?
Yeah, I've seen something about, being that Boba Fett was inherently a clone of Jango.
Yeah.
And every stormtrooper was a clone of Jango.
Yeah.
There's no way to know if it was Boba until they tell you. Because you can guess all you want, but
until they go,
like it could have been any of them.
Until they go, look, this is who it is. At this point, it's just, hey, guess who that is? And okay, I guess I'll believe you. But I heard somewhere that they think it's Jango. Because he had all those scars on him. If you look at his neck, there's a scar right where it looked like Mace Windu could have chopped his head off.
That would be interesting.
It'd be very interesting, but I
don't know if I guess since he had his head cut off, like when you put it back on, like he lost a lot of time he lost a lot of aging time to that.
Yeah, because you're pretty sure you don't age when you're dead.
Yeah, I mean this is Star Wars, like technically anything is possible.
I mean, they brought back the Emperor for absolutely no reason.
I mean, I thought it was a cool premise, but it just kind of it was poorly executed based on the way that Episode 8 had to make it fit.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of that sequel trilogy. I'm really not. I mean, I kind of agree with what George Lucas said. He put out, I think it was an interview or something, where he said that there should be no sequel trilogy. He said because Star Wars is the tragedy of Darth Vader. Which, I mean, yeah, I understand that. But I still did kind of enjoy Solo with with Darth Maul at the end. I'm
still waiting on more of that, by the way.
I think Darth Maul should have been the villain of the sequel trilogy. Well, actually, no, he couldn't have been. Because in Rebels, since I think technically Rebels is canon, Obi-Wan killed Darth Maul. It was a beautiful sequence. I mean,
yeah, he did that in Episode 1.
Just cut the man down. But no, like...
He's only half the man that he used to be, right?
But no, like, in Rebels, like, they showed Darth Maul hunting down Obi-Wan, and they met, and, you know, when Obi-Wan's old man sounded like Alec Guinness, and they had, like, it was literally a 2-second battle, and Darth Maul went to do the same thing he did to Qui-Gon, you know, hit him and then stab him, and when he went like this, Obi-Wan sliced down and just fucking killed him.
So he's been sliced in half. He's been sliced in half, hot dog and hamburger style
technically,
at this point. Okay.
But what I thought was beautiful, and you know me, I love writing. I like good writing,
mm-hmm.
and you know if they have a sequence in a movie or a show that it's usually a pretty serious or pretty funny show, and it's like a serious, like, look, all jokes aside, we need to bring you back to what this show's about. It's once Obi-Wan slices down and kills Darth Maul, he's holding him in his arms, and Darth Maul's like, is he the chosen one? Because before they battle, Darth Maul's like, you wouldn't be here just on your own accord. He goes, unless you're protecting something, and then he goes, or someone. And then that's when Obi-Wan's like, okay, you gotta die, and lightsaber up, and he kind of figured out. He didn't know that Obi-Wan was looking after Luke, but he was, or Luke, well, no, yeah, just Luke. But he picked up on, okay, there's a reason he's here, and it's probably to watch someone. And Obi-Wan's holding his arms, and Darth Maul goes, is he the chosen one? And Obi-Wan's like, yeah. And he goes, good. He'll avenge both of us.
Ooh,
and then he died, because Darth Maul, if you read some of the older books, he was just taken off his planet by Palpatine. And he was bred to be a Sith. He could have...
Just like Jar Jar.
Yeah, just like Jar Jar.
I will forever stick by Darth Jar Jar.
100%. But, I mean, I enjoyed the second episode of the season of Mando, even though, yes, I get it's a filler. And I do understand that sometimes you have to have fillers. I just want to see what tomorrow's episode is going to hold.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because this is probably going to be our first look at like a new republic.
Yeah.
Like city after the actual fall of the Empire.
Yeah, because so far it's been like desolate planets.
Yeah, because like even in the sequel trilogy, like it was still a lot of like just isolated things, and we're not going to talk about episode 8. But it's still a lot of like desert planets.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like little huts like gathered around, like there's no like big cities to talk about. And so you really don't get to see what the full scope of like the Republic looks like, and I'm curious to see if we get that.
I think we will, because we have X-wing pilots right now. Like I get that we had a little bit last season, but I think all there was that flyby when they blew up that prison. But we have X-wing pilots now.
Yeah, like that's
who one of them, I'm pretty sure.
I saw something about it being like a cameo from like
I think
original.
It was Dave Filoni.
Yeah, there was like a cameo for like one of the pilots, and I thought that was kind of neat.
But I don't know. I mean, Serena was laughing the entire time at Baby Yoda eating all the little eggs. And I think I sent you that picture of the Baby Yoda just literally committed genocide, and you laughed.
Yeah.
I mean...
Now, one thing that I will say about... I wasn't a big fan of episode 2 of The Mandalorian, but one thing I will say is I love that it was like a... what was it like a reference to? It was like an... What did they do? Because they've done a lot of that so far in The Mandalorian, where they'll like make... they'll kind of make... like pay homage to like different movies of the past. And like I feel like it was Aliens, but I'm not sure if it was exactly Aliens.
Oh, the egg?
Like with the spiders and the spiders coming out.
I was getting Alien vibes, and even Serena was like, I thought this was Star Wars. I was like, it is. And she goes, is Ripley going to run out of this room sometime? And I was like, I just looked. I was like, oh my god, I love you. An Alien reference.
Yeah, like the show has done a really good job of doing that, because like I know they've done different episodes in the past that have kind of like paid homage to different movies.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're going to do more. But like I really just felt like episode 2 was just kind of like...
Episode 2 was... It was kind of like a... I'm trying to find the words. It was...
It's just like a filler episode in like an anime.
It was, and it really does... It really does kind of help bring the...
It just progresses the story in a way that
it does give him a reason to be going to this place, and I totally understood that, which is why I wasn't too upset with the filler episode. But I just, if they put us through that filler episode, tomorrow's episode has to be amazing, and I feel like it's going to be. And I mean,
I feel like if we're going to get like a reference to Ahsoka, I feel like it's going to come.
Yeah.
Even if we don't see her, I feel like the first reference to her is going to come in this episode.
I'm thinking that too, because if they're doing the same thing they did last season, I think we're only going to get 6 or 8 episodes.
Yeah, I think it was 8 last. I would imagine 8.
Yeah, so I mean,
because just like the boys stayed at their 10 episode seasons. I feel like the Mandalorian would probably just stick with 8. Just I mean, it worked the first time. There's no reason to. It's obvious that you're gonna make more. It sells. There's no reason to. There's no reason to like add on.
Oh yeah, the Mandalorian, it definitely does sell for Disney, and which I always had a feeling it would. But when they announced it at first, I wasn't sure how good it was going to be. Because, I mean, yes, I'm a huge Star Wars guy. I'll watch anything Star Wars puts out. But I wasn't quite sure how I felt about a show that's just about a bounty hunter. And then after the first episode, I was like, oh, I was 100% wrong. This is one of the best things to come to TV.
Yeah.
And it's just like, honestly, I never thought having a WandaVision show for Marvel would be successful, but that is going to be amazing from the trailers we have seen.
Yeah,
and it made me a Wanda Maximoff fan, because I was always a bit of a Scarlet Witch fan, but I wasn't like, oh my god, Scarlet Witch. Now I'm like, oh my god, it's Scarlet Witch and it's Vision, two characters you never thought was going to be more than just them.
Yeah, I mean Disney's kind of killing it on the TV show front.
Oh, yeah.
Before we move off of the Mandalorian, I still want to talk about what's your favorite. What's been your favorite kind of Easter egg that they've put in, even in these first 2 episodes.
So far,
because there's been so many cool little callbacks.
There really has. I think my brother texted me because he watched the first episode a couple days after it came out. I know they were on Tatooine. First episode. Jabba's palace is on Tatooine. They went to an empty Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
I wonder if that Sarlacc pit they went to was the one outside of Jabba's palace. Which, I'm sure it's not. Yeah. But that was one of those, hey, it's cool to think that it is.
Yeah, I don't think that it's going to be that per se. Some of my favorites, when they met the Sand People, I'm pretty sure it was the same spot where Luke first met Obi-Wan. It was that same exact setting. And
the droid. I think
the R5.
It's the same one
it's
from
the same
New Hope.
one, from A New Hope that blew up when he tried to get it.
See, what they're doing a lot of service, and I think Jon Favreau is still head honcho on that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's still his baby, and
Jon Favreau.
He has free reign to do whatever he wants with that show.
The same, not only with that show, Jon Favreau is the same man that gave us Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark.
Yeah,
look where that led.
Yeah, I was about to say after what he's done for Disney already and like Marvel, like they basically when he has like ideas, they're like, well, you haven't been wrong yet. So
yeah, exactly. I mean,
it's just been like absolutely wonderful to watch.
This Mandalorian show, it is something really great, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen throughout the year because I think they're signed on for another 3 seasons.
Yeah, there's plenty of.
I mean, there's plenty of content they're going to make for us.
Yeah, because they still have to explain like how Giancarlo Esposito's character Moff Gideon like got the Darksaber. They still haven't explained that.
Oh yeah, which that man.
If they give us a lightsaber fight.
Oh, if they give us a lightsaber fight
with like Ahsoka and
Moff
Gideon,
I will geek all over the living room.
Oh, absolutely. And
I'll have to bring a cleaning crew in.
And I mean, like seeing the pod racer, actually, that was another cool one.
That was I didn't notice that until the second time I watched it. I was like, is that?
I noticed it immediately because I played that game for the Nintendo 64.
Talk about the Star Wars pod racing.
Yeah. Oh my god, I played the crap out of that game. And I just always use Anakin because it was like, oh yeah, it's the go-to. So like I immediately recognized those flaps and I was like, wait, is that Anakin's? Wait a minute. Did he turn that into us? Oh, that's cool. And even seeing that, it reminded me of like one of my favorite cameos in the entire Star Wars universe, which is Greg Proops from Whose Line Is It Anyway as the announcer of the pod race.
Yeah.
Because I always like, I heard that voice and I was like, I feel like I know that voice from somewhere. And then just like one day it hit me when I was like rewatching the series, like episode 1 to episode 6 at the time, getting ready for like when episode 7 was about to come out.
Yeah.
I just heard it, and this is like after, like you just watching a bunch of like Who's Line clips on like YouTube, and I was like, oh, that's Greg Proops. That's why I know. And I looked it up, and sure enough, that was who. I was like, that makes this even better. And that's why he was so daggone funny in that that role. I was like, no wonder it was always so funny to me as a kid.
Disney Plus is doing a lot of good things, which when they saying they're going to do Disney Plus, I only thought it was going to be like the roster of classic Disney. I knew they'd own Star Wars, I knew they'd own Marvel, so I figured it'd be those, but I did not realize that the Mandalorian was going to be so good that we were possibly going to get a Boba Fett show.
Yeah, I've seen the talks of the Boba Fett show.
Like WandaVision,
I
still
really want the Obi-Wan show.
Oh, that would
because I don't want it to be anything now. Like I just want it to be like basically his adventures between episode 3 and episode 4.
Yeah.
Like I just want it to be kind of like what he was up to
while he's watching over Luke.
While he's show me some of the things that he had to do to protect Luke.
Yeah.
Other than stick him in the one place that Darth Vader would never go.
Yeah.
The sand.
Because he hates sand.
He hates sand.
But
it's rough. It's coarse.
And it gets everywhere. But like, Disney Plus is, they're getting into TV show stuff. Obviously, Kevin Feige runs the show, the like TV show aspect. He was running he's running Daredevil, which obviously is canceled, but I think we're going to see them more prominently in the movies. Punisher, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Defenders, Iron Fist. I mean,
speaking of them, that's one of the things that I've heard about the the new Spider-Man movie is that now that he's kind of been outed for like crimes, like he's probably going to have a trial. And I've seen where they've talked about either having Matt Murdock
or She-Hulk
be his like lawyer, and I was like, that would be the perfect way to introduce the character. That would be
so amazing. I did hear that Matt Murdock was possibly going to be in there, and I think it's going to be Charlie Cox. Is it Charlie? No, yeah, it's Charlie Cox because Charlie Day is the dude from Always Sunny.
Yeah,
but I know Charlie Cox is going to be Daredevil because they're not getting Ben Affleck back.
No, absolutely,
absolutely not.
He's Batman now.
He is Batman. Go back. But like
one of the few people to do a movie on both sides.
I know,
Still
right?
Really cool.
I would really love. Oh, Tommy Lee Jones did too. He was one of the generals in Captain America, and he was
that's
Two-Face.
right. Yeah, he was the main guy in there. That movie. Don't even get me started on how much I love that movie.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey, best casting of a superhero.
Oh, without a doubt. But like, I want to see what they're going to do with Punisher, because that John Bernthal's Punisher, I loved him.
See, I never really could like get into the Netflix shows. My ex-girlfriend, like, she loved the Jessica Jones. Like, I think she watched Jessica Jones, and then she watched, like, Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Just because it was a,
They're
spin-off.
right
Yeah, like, he was in Jessica Jones, and then, so it's a new show. But I think the only thing that I loved about the Jessica Jones show was just seeing Doctor Who be the villain.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even watch it with her. Like, she just kind of watched that one on her own, and I just remember being in the room one day and, like hearing a voice, and I was like, oh, who's that? She's like, oh, that's like the bad guy of the show. Like, we hadn't seen him. I was like, well, I could tell you who he is.
Yeah.
You can't mistake that voice.
No.
That's the Doctor.
But, like, I'm going to get Serena to watch Daredevil, because we have a whole list of shows we have to watch that we never get to. But I really enjoyed the Marvel TV shows. I wasn't a big Jessica Jones fan, or Luke Cage, or Iron Fist. I watched them, but it was more of like, okay, these are Marvel, I'll enjoy them. I didn't dig them that much. Daredevil was amazing.
Yeah,
and Punisher was good. And if you didn't know you were watching a Punisher show or like a Marvel show, you never would have been able to tell.
Yeah, like I always hear that Daredevil was always everyone's favorite, and that the Punisher was the only other good one.
Yeah.
Because like I hear people talk about like Iron Fist all the time and just say that like the fight scenes were just bad. And it wasn't really very, like, it was kind of like rushed together writing, and just like not like talk a big game with the action sequences, and then like they just never really like come through the way that you think it should.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if that's like budgetary issues or...
And it really could be. It also could be, and I'm not going to hate on those writers, because to be in a writer's room, I'm sure that's a tough job.
Yeah.
But I mean... you gotta know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I feel like Daredevil was written very well, and so was Punisher. I really wish Punisher would have done more mentioning of Daredevil, since Punisher was in season 2. And he did mention Punisher did mention Daredevil in season 2 when he was in the hospital at one point. He's talking to Karen from Punisher, and Daredevil. And he was like, does he know you're here? And she's like, who? He goes, Matt Murdock. And it's like, hey, it's a callback. He knows Matt. But, I mean...
Now, I will say, like, maybe one of the reasons that those two were loved so much is that while they are, like, technically superheroes, you could say, like, the Punisher is just, like, a normal dude with guns.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not unbelievable to think that somebody could do that.
Yeah,
and it's not hard to actually portray like on camera.
It's not, and it's also. And even I think part of the appeal of Punisher also was it's not hard to put yourself in his shoes.
Yeah,
because if someone you love is taken from you, you go to extreme lengths.
Yeah, like
to write that.
You can see how he would get from point A to point B there.
Yeah, and I mean...
And then even with Daredevil, like, while yes, like, he's technically a superhero, like, he fights hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, it's not like he's using any sort of superpowers other than...
Yeah, all he's doing is using really good echolocation.
I mean, if anyone's going to be Batman, like, technically it should be him.
Yeah.
But... like it's still hand-to-hand combat, and like that's not hard to show on camera. That's been done for years. Whereas like with Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and like Iron Fist, like all of these have like some sort of like mystical magical powers, and like you're super strong, and that sometimes that can get lost on a camera. Whereas like the two like just forms of just physical fighting and just gunplay, it just kind of like carries over.
It's really easy to have a dude pointing a gun. It's like, okay, you're pointing here, you're shooting here, but there's someone behind you, and it's not like you have to like, bam, magic elbow someone in the face. It's like, okay, there's someone behind me, boom, over.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is really good.
There's a reason it works, and John Wick has showed you why.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's the same kind of action that you would see in like a John Wick type action movie, like a Taken franchise. Like, it's that kind of action. People love it, and it just works. Like, it just so happens that it falls within the Marvel universe.
Yeah. And I mean, Marvel's doing a lot of such good work, and honestly, I don't think anyone thought that superhero movies would be the way they are today.
Yeah, it's come a long way from, like, growing up on, like, Val Kilmer Batman and God rest George Clooney Batman.
Thomas Jane Punisher. I mean,
I still love that movie, even though John Travolta is terrible.
John Travolta is so bad in that movie, but the funniest part is at the end when I think he's limping out, and Thomas Jane comes out, and John Travolta's like, "You killed my son," and you hear the other son in the building go, "No," and it blows up. He's like, "Both of them," and it's like, oh. Just kick him while he's down, Frank.
No, my favorite scene is the funniest scene to me in that movie is like when he puts the car in like drive and then just like doesn't just lightly puts a rock on the gas pedal so it goes 2 miles an hour and it drags John Travolta for 5 minutes of explosions.
And you're like, oh, that hurts.
It's just like watching everything that he loves like blow up literally in front of his face. And then just like getting that gratuitous zoom out scene where it's the skull and fire, and I'm like, see, that's how you end the movie.
Here's the thing with growing up with movies like Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, RIP, the original X-Men, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I never thought that a movie like Endgame would get what was it 1.5 billion?
It has the record now over, what was it, Avatar?
Yeah, I mean, superhero movies have become honestly a lot bigger than I ever thought. Like Justice League, the
one we got, not the one we want.
Yeah, the Whedon cut. It was big, but also it was obviously a blatant ripoff.
Yes, Justice League.
Yes. Now we're getting Snyder cut, but here's the thing. With COVID and all that and them doing a bunch of shutdowns and all that, you got Black Widow. Releasing, here's a new look at, Taskmaster every 6 days. And it's like, you're going to, it's kind of like I told you before we even started, you're going to show us this entire movie before we get to the theaters.
Well, so the thing with that is they still haven't officially ruled out a 2020. They still have it on the books as it's going to come out in December. So that's probably why they're amping up some of their marketing, social media presence with stuff. But I still feel like it's not coming out till basically everything's just going to get pushed back a year.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to come out April of next year.
April or May.
I mean it'll just be like the same release timeline.
Probably, and I mean, I really am anxious to see it because they said, they're going to answer the Budapest question. This is an awful lot like Budapest. You and I remember Budapest very differently.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get to see what happened in Budapest, but I mean, it kind of is what it is. So the biggest thing with that is I can't believe that even though the movies have taken off like this, I can't believe that now with WandaVision coming out, they're transferring to TV shows with the same. Basically, it's just going to be one extra long movie about these characters.
Because it's going to look the same. It's going to look the same as the movies. It's going to feel the same. The only difference is
it's going to come out for an hour at a time, once a week.
Yeah, and you're going to have beginning credits and end credits that last 10 seconds. And then you're going to be like, oh, well, looks like I gotta wait a week to see what happens with Wanda. I gotta wait a week to see what happens with Winter Soldier. I mean, I don't know. I'm anxious to see because since Feige, he's running the movies and he's running the shows, I don't think you can rule out a Spider-Man cameo.
No, I mean, I'd like to get your thoughts on like what some of the things that you think we're gonna see in it.
What I would like to see in WandaVision is, I want mutants. Damn it!
I feel like we're getting the House of M.
I feel like we really are.
Like,
I mean,
it's just gonna be like, we might as well call it the House of W because it's gonna be a reverse
Yeah.
House of M. So just flip it upside down.
100%.
Because it's gonna be like such. And I mean, they have already confirmed that she's actually going to be the villain of Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So I mean, like the two,
I'm sure WandaVision.
like the TV show and the Doctor Strange movie are going to go hand in hand with each other. So you actually can't watch the movie without seeing the show, or at least know what happens.
That is so smart.
Yeah, to get more. Even if the Mandalorian didn't get enough people to buy Disney Plus,
this will.
This is going to, because like you have to have it.
You have to, because there's going to be a lot of stuff in Doctor Strange that you're like you said, you're gonna need to watch the show, or you're gonna be like, wait, hold up. She was a good guy. Why is she losing her mind right now? And it's like, you need to watch WandaVision. But I don't want to. Then you obviously don't want to know. Don't want to know what's happening.
Yeah, I was about to say you have to know it for the story, and I'm happy that that's the case. Because like I love the continuity, but the fact that the TV shows and the movies are not going to be separate.
Yeah. Oh, that's
because it's just like what we said with like the Arrowverse and all that. Like the fact that they made them separate things in it. Like you have like all these characters that you love between like Stephen Amell's Oliver Queen and Greg Gustin's Barry Allen, and they're not getting the chance to like go into the big roles in the movies when you've already done the backstories for these characters. Like you could just.
I do feel that DC did them a disservice, but what I love that Marvel's going to do is, I think Wanda's going to make the multiverse in this movie because they did they said in Far From Home there's a multiverse, but Mysterio was full of shit.
Kinda.
I mean, well, kind of. He didn't know there was, but the whole thought about that was
the person that wrote that line for him did know.
Yeah. So, when Mysterio said there's a multiverse, he was 100% just like, there's a multiverse, wink wink. But, I think Wanda's gonna create the multiverse. I think she's gonna lose her mind. I think she's gonna make mutants, and I think with Doctor Strange, that's gonna be, it's gonna be Doctor Strange trying to fix what she created.
Yeah, like, so to me, like, I see it the same way I see it playing out the same way, like, the Crisis on Infinite Earths, like, the Arrow, like, the Berlantiverse, like, crossover happened, like, where you have all of these different things, and you have, like, a problem where now they're here, and they're disappearing, and what essentially happens is they get placed back together.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like the exact same. Like you're going to have bits and pieces from other ones, like
which is why in Spider-Man 3,
probably where you're going to get the mutants. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to get like that would be an easy way to inject like a Reed Richards or a Norman Osborn like kind of into the
They need to do Reed Richards ASAP because I have been wanting Reed Richards for a long time, and I do want to go back to what you had said. I think you said this about a couple months ago of the old Avengers Tower being the Baxter Building.
Yeah, like that. I mean, it feels like it's going to be either the Baxter Building or Oscorp. It's going to, like they're setting it up to be one of the two, and I mean, I honestly wouldn't care either way.
I really wouldn't either. I would love to see Oscorp because I want to see Green Goblin, but I want the Fantastic Four. I want Doctor Doom. I want Namor.
It's not that I want a version as done by the people who actually care about it.
Yeah, because
not the people trying to keep the copyright.
Yeah, because that last Fantastic Four movie, it wasn't terrible. But it
also wasn't good.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, and
it was there.
When they put it on Disney Plus, me and Serena watched it, and I mean, I can see the hate for it, but I do like it. I mean, I like who played I can't remember who played Reed Richards.
It was what's his name that was in the movie, the drum movie with guy that played J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but like I know who you're talking. Like I think that he did a really good job. I I didn't think that Michael B. Jordan's like Human Torch was bad.
I don't think it was bad, but I also wasn't.
I think that they didn't do the Thing the way that they should have.
Oh, I mean, he looked like
And
a pile of boulders.
I absolutely hated the Doctor Doom. Like
Yeah,
that was
their Doctor Doom.
it was so bad.
Honestly, you want to talk about bad Doctor Dooms? That was a horrible Doctor Doom. That one was so bad it makes the 2004. I think Fantastic Four's Doctor Doom look good.
I mean, honestly, like I didn't think that one was bad. They didn't really explore it and give him like they didn't like get him to the level of like now saying maybe if they had a third movie like he comes back, he's stronger, he's whatever, because they didn't actually kill him off because they even set that up at the end of the first one. But I think the thing that did that one in was just how bad Galactus was.
Galactus was so bad, and I mean,
it kind of ruined it. It basically like turned people off from the Fantastic, because I thought the Silver Surfer aspect.
The Silver Surfer
great.
he was very well done.
Yeah, it was. I thought that was great. It was just it was like the Galactus part that just kind of like if you're gonna do Galactus, you just can't do a cloud, like not a cloud.
Yeah, I side with that. If you're gonna do Galactus, do him right. It's kind of like honestly, Parallax in the Green Lantern movie. I did not enjoy that version of Parallax. I mean,
it's one of those things that it's easy to do in comics, like when you just have to draw it. It's hard to get right in like a movie setting. But I feel like if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be like Feige's brain trust.
I mean, they made Thanos like look really great.
Yeah.
I mean, Thanos was amazing. I mean, they made Ultron look just I think honestly, of the Avengers movies that Whedon did, Ultron's the best.
Yeah.
Because I really did enjoy that, and it was
I still am like kind of nostalgic to the original Avengers with Loki as the villain. Because like Loki took on his own, like even though he was the villain, like he's had such a big arc throughout the series.
Yes.
That it just,
I loved Loki's arc, and what I'm really interested to see, and I also don't like, is the fact that in the Loki show, it's kind of like what you said. This is not the same Loki we lost.
No, this is the one. From that timeline. He's actually bad
exactly.
Loki again.
This isn't the one who fought with Thor in the Dark World.
This is not the one that did get help.
This it's not the one that. This isn't the one that. Honestly,
they bonded as brothers.
Well, they bonded, and also with him and Odin, the arc was kind of redeemed because when Odin died. He said, my sons. And when he says that, Loki looks over like, holy shit.
Like, even after everything I've done, like,
just like after I put him here, after I, invaded Earth, after everything I did, he's still, I love you, my sons.
Yeah.
He's still like, and honestly, it really is, in a weird way, kind of like the same as Miles Morales and what's his stepdad's name? Jefferson Davis, I think, or whatever the hell his name is. It's it's a stepdad who loves him like it's his own blood.
Yeah.
And honestly, Odin, I believe Odin, from what they showed us in the movies, kind of a jerk, but also he loved Loki without a doubt. Loki had a big place in his heart. And I'm interested to see, we've already, in a sense, seen this Loki. We've already seen the, I'm going to burn this place to the ground. And
I'm curious to see how, if Thor ever shows up, to see how that affects Thor. Yes. And to see if Thor is able to, like, tell him about, what happens in in his real future, not necessarily just that timeline.
Yeah.
Just because that would be neat to see, like, his reaction to it all over again.
Kind of like the same way Nebula did Gamora in Endgame.
Yeah.
With the, look, we fought. We tried to kill each other. But in the end, we became sisters. We became, family, friends. We loved each other.
Like, they finally had that family bonding moment.
Yeah, they finally had their moment of, hey, we tried to kill each other. But for what reason? I mean, yeah, they were both on Thanos' well, Nebula was for a long time. But then Nebula's like, look, looking at her past, I was like, look what he did to us. He doesn't love you. He didn't love us at all.
Yeah.
He wanted what was best for him. And I'm really interested in seeing, I really do want to see Thor do the same thing. Like, look, this is what we did. We fought, the Dark Elves together. We fought Hela. We watched our father die. We grew a relationship that wasn't just, the sun will shine on us again, brother. It was... And I also think in Infinity War, it really did show Loki's true colors. When, Thanos was like, I'll torture him, and Loki's like, okay, kill him. And then Thanos just looks at him just like, I think I'm put the space stone or whatever up against Thor's head and is like slowly killing him, and Loki's like, fine, okay, jeez.
I think it was the Power Stone.
Yeah, Power Stone. And then you were like, wait, Loki's not letting Thor die? Loki sacrificed himself for Thor?
And this not only that, but the in the end, he still tried to save the day.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to lose. Now that he finally got that brother and that family that he's always wanted, he didn't want to lose it.
I mean, as much of a shit as Loki acts, because let's be honest, even after the whole bonding thing, in Ragnarok, Loki was also still like...
He's still Loki.
I'm still the god of mischief.
Yeah.
But you also saw that Loki had changed. He was still Loki, but also he was like, look, if Thor obviously cares so much, there must be a reason. And I mean, I really am excited to see what's going to happen. I'm excited to see what's going to happen in this new Spider-Man. I know they said Kraven might be one of the villains, and I think Scorpion. I have a casting for Kraven.
Honestly, to me, it's not... While I'm excited to see, Spider-Man 3, I still wish it would be called There's No Place Like Home.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not necessarily as excited to see Spider-Man 3 as I am the Sony projects that they have coming up.
Yeah, Morbius.
It's not even, just Morbius. It's the fact that they've already announced that they are going to cross it over with Venom.
Yeah.
So you are going to get Spidey and Venom on the screen again.
And I think the casting. I think there was a casting call for Venom 2 that Tom Holland was on one of the call sheets.
Yeah, and I mean it's going to set up a relationship between Spider-Man and Venom, and it's going to set up I'm pretty sure they're wanting to do Sinister Six.
Oh, they have to be. I mean, have...
And the fact that it's a joint venture with Marvel and Sony...
It's going to be something great.
It means you get access to all of the characters you've already had. So you can get the Scorpion that was in the was it the first Spider-Man movie?
He was in the end of the first Spider-Man.
Yeah, in the end of Homecoming, you get Michael Keaton back as the Vulture. That is a thing that can happen.
Exactly.
You're going to have, what's his name? It's a Tom, isn't it? Tom Hardy.
Yeah, talking about Venom. Yeah, Tom Hardy.
Venom, you're getting that Venom. I would imagine that Morbius would be in it because it's in the same universe.
Yeah, I mean,
and
Morbius...
we know that whenever you saw Michael Keaton in the Morbius trailer.
Yeah.
So you know it's in the same universe. So you know that's probably going to happen. And then I don't know if Mysterio is going to make an appearance.
Here's the thing.
However,
they're not going to waste Mysterio on one movie.
Yeah. And I mean, because it's Mysterio, you never know if he really did die. Because that's like the whole thing.
Yeah. I don't see them wasting Mysterio on one movie. Just like I don't see them wasting Taskmaster on one movie. I think Taskmaster's going to come back for the whatever next Avengers. If it's Young Avengers, if it's going to be just Sam and whatever. I think Taskmaster's going to come back for that. I think Mysterio is going to come back for a future Spider-Man project.
And we get they've announced that Jamie Foxx is coming back as
Electro, yeah.
So now they didn't say that it was specifically Andrew Garfield Electro. So maybe they just say, let's ditch the blue boy and let's kind of give him
a callback.
Yeah, like he can still play Electro, but maybe let's make him look a little different, a little better.
Yeah. And
I'm excited to get Garfield and Tobey Maguire in there.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture on Facebook the other day, and it had Tobey Maguire with like a gray beard and gray hair and wrinkles, and he's holding up the Spider-Man costume. He's like, "It's been 85 years." I really am excited because I enjoyed the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. I didn't enjoy Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I liked him as Peter, and
I kind of think we felt the same way that Tobey Maguire was a good Peter. Spider-Man, not so much. Not sure if it was writing. It's definitely not the Venom scenes. Good Lord.
Yeah.
But
because
then, like,
who was Topher?
Eric Foreman.
Yeah, as Venom.
Not so much.
No, that was not a good casting. Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, 100% all day long.
Yeah.
But and I didn't really like
James Franco as the Hobgoblin at the end. Not very good.
Well, what they called him was the New Goblin.
Yeah, no.
And I was like, really? You're going to call him the New... He's the Hobgoblin. Actually, yeah, he's the Hobgoblin. Say it right or don't say it at all. But I didn't really like Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker.
I loved him as Spider-Man, though.
Because
he had that just like...
He was quick.
Yeah, the quick wit.
The funniest was the... Well, one of the two funniest was from the first one, when the dude pulls out a knife. You know my weakness! Small knives. Is it real? And goes, yeah, it's real. He's like, oh. That and the I know it was an Amazing Spider-Man 2. I can't remember exactly when, but he hits the fire hose at Electro and it blows him back, and he's wearing the fireman hat, and he just like flips the hose and like holsters it like a gun. It's like, okay, you are very good Spider-Man. Peter Parker is someone you don't notice. That's the whole thing about Peter Parker. It's, if you saw Peter Parker walking down the street, you wouldn't be like, oh my god, that's Peter Parker. You'd be like, who is that? Andrew Garfield
he's too good looking to...
Andrew Garfield's... He's pretty. He's good to look at. He's, he had the good hair, he was cool. It's like...
He looked more like the popular guy.
He looked like he should have been Harry Osborn.
Yeah. But I still love the Spider-Man. And in a Spider-Man movie, I want Spider-Man to be the star. And the fact that's why I kind of had more of a love for the newer ones. Because I was like, I thought he was great as I don't care necessarily what he looks like as Peter. As long as he's able to pass as like smart. Really and truly, like I don't necessarily care. But I thought that one even those movies tried to set up a Sinister Six. The problem was the villains were so bad. I thought the Lizard was very good. I think Electro was just so bad that it just completely undersold everything about those movies.
And their Green Goblin was not good.
And the fact that they actually killed Gwen Stacy.
I knew that they were going to kill her eventually. Because you don't put Gwen Stacy in a Spider-Man movie and her end out well. Honestly, happens. That's like putting Thomas and Martha Wayne in a Batman movie and being like, oh, they're never gonna die, or Uncle Ben. But like, that was, and I made a joke. You weren't here. I was watching Homecoming today when the elevator falls in Homecoming.
Yeah,
and he grabs old girl with the webs real quick, and I'm like, you should have grabbed Gwen like that, man. Just like.
And so that's another thing that I'm excited to see about in this crossover is you give these actors like chances to fix what they did wrong in the past in their own timelines.
Yes.
So like one thing that I would love to see, I know we've talked about it before, is you give Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man a chance to like redeem himself for not being able to save Gwen.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a thing where Zendaya's MJ like gets put in a situation
and he has to save her.
And he has to be the one to save her, and he actually does. And it kind of completes an arc for the character itself, that it lets you leave on a good note. As opposed to the fact that the last scene that we really saw in that movie was Gwen dying, and then the bad Electro fight finishing. And it's like it just ended on such a down note that it
ended to where I can get if they would have done a third one. Okay, it's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, but
depressing, but your sequel, it's gonna fix everything.
And I mean, they introduced like a Mary Jane in the second movie, so like you knew they were wanting to do another one, and they had plans going forward. But they were just trying to stay true to the comics, and like this is what happened in the comics.
And
I
should
hope
known
that they give him an art to do that, and it works. Because like I don't know what necessarily they would do with Tobey Maguire's character that could give him like a redemption arc.
I mean, he didn't really. MJ didn't die. I mean, Uncle Ben died, but you're not gonna save Uncle Ben.
Yeah, he's already felt like that pain is just ingrained into the Spider-Man character.
What gets me is what I'm wondering for the Tom Holland ones. They have yet to introduce Harry Osborn.
Yeah,
which that always, and I love Ned. Ned is hilarious. He's like in Far From Home with the what happened to being bachelors in Europe. Those were the dreams of a boy. But now you're talking to a man. I mean, he's hilarious, but I do not see his tubby ass being Harry Osborn.
So I think the only reason that they haven't is because if you introduce Harry Osborn, there's an innate sense of this comes along with Norman Osborn. And I don't think that they've ever had the actual rights to use that character because of the Raimiverse.
I think
So I think they just I think that's the reason that Ned exists, is because they couldn't use Harry.
So they have to have
they still gave him the guy in the chair. It just wasn't
Harry, it was
Ned. They had
Ned,
to make a new one.
Like I said, Ned's hilarious. I think Ned was a very good idea. I'm interested in seeing how they're going to do Harry. If they do Harry, I mean, they have Flash Thompson. They can easily do Agent Venom. And I don't see why they wouldn't.
So here's the thing with me is I'm curious to see what they do with his character.
Flash?
Because like in this newest one, like he always makes references to like his parents.
Yeah.
But you've never seen him.
Never seen, and at the end with can mother not make it? The butler's like, no. I mean,
like, what is going on that we don't know about his parents?
If he's just a side character, I'd get it.
I strongly feel.
But here's the thing about Flash Thompson in the previous movies. Flash Thompson in The Amazing Spider-Man, he was the bully, but he was in for a grand total of maybe 5 minutes.
And it was also Joe Manganiello.
No, that was Tom Maguire movies.
Oh, yeah.
The Amazing Spider-Man ones, he was that blonde dude with the short hair. I don't even think he was in the second one. But they've had Flash Thompson in these past 2 movies.
And I mean,
for a lot longer than...
He's been prominent. Because he's even like the Spider-Man fan club, like #1 fan dude on Instagram.
And it's like Flash Thompson in these movies he's had a bigger role than he really should have, unless they're setting up for something. And in the comics, Agent Venom, I believe it was Flash Thompson. So I also want to see what he's going to do with knowing that Peter is Spider-Man. Because he's always, Spider-Man's so great. I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Shut up, Peter.
Yeah, and I wonder what's going to happen when he's like, wait a second, you're...
Oh.
What?
Yeah, because that happened after all of the mother couldn't make it stuff. So I'm curious to see, honestly, like I'm curious to see how that goes down.
I really am too, and I think you're gonna see in the next Spider-Man, you're gonna see a lot of the side characters be like, that makes sense.
I feel like they're finally gonna give like everybody their what they were like the arcs are gonna finally come full circle, and you're gonna see what was being set up all the way back in like episode 1.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily, but movie number 1 for Spider-Man. Like you're going to see
They did set up a lot
down.
of stuff, and it's like I said earlier, I don't see why the Prowler isn't in the next Spider-Man movie. Even if Miles isn't, I mean, Aaron Davis still could be. Even though Spider-Man Aaron Davis did seem quite friendly in Homecoming. I mean, and you still had
I don't necessarily think it was friendly. I think it was more the kind of like how the family aspect had the Prowler like in the Spider-Verse movie, like kind of like had him come like I think they just set him up as like it's the same kind of character, because even when Spider-Man interrogates him, like he's more worried about his family than he is.
Yeah, he's more worried about, and you can tell
being a bad dude.
You can tell when he was like, you need to get better at this part. You could tell he was like, you're obviously not leaving. You're gonna be here, watching over New York. My nephew Miles lives here. If something happens to him, and he didn't say this, but you could see it, the way he said things. If something happens to Miles, it's on you.
Yeah.
And I think Donald Glover did a very good job. I cannot wait to see him.
And I think that they could have, because of like what's been set up with the fact that that movie happened pre-blip, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't see him post-blip. Maybe Miles is one of the people that got blipped, and
now he's
he had to go 5 years with that, like after losing his nephew, and maybe he blames Spider-Man.
Yes, because
and that might turn him into the character we
know as the Prowler.
Yeah, and that would be, and the fact that he's been part of like Sinister Six type setups before, maybe he makes an appearance in the.
Maybe. I mean, they do have the Prowler coming onto the Miles game, so I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I mean,
I just love to see Donald Glover act in anything.
In anything, that man is a great actor. I loved him in Community. I loved him in
I just love his stand-up.
Yeah, that dude's hilarious.
I love him as Gambino. Like he's everything he does. I still haven't watched Atlanta. I need to get around to finally watching that.
I haven't watched that either.
Because I think they've got like season 2 out already, right?
I think so. I don't know. I haven't watched it. I heard it is good though. But we discussed a lot of great topics today, man. I think this podcast can go somewhere. And it's all up to it's up to us making sure we put out regular content, every however long we decide to do it. Prominently on YouTube, on Facebook. We're gonna go live on Facebook.
Yeah, we'll have like some Facebook lives, maybe like some YouTube streams or whatever. Once we get, because I think we have to like reach a certain like number of like followers and watchers before we can do like the live stream stuff. Yeah. I'm not sure though, because like when I live stream something before just for like like 10 people or whatever. Like I didn't have to, but that was also a few years ago, so I don't know if they've changed their. But yeah, like we're gonna be posting on YouTube. Like we're keeping up kind of like regular stuff on like the Instagram. We've got the Facebook page where like super interactive. Like you can ask any of us questions.
And like, if we don't get to you that day.
Yeah, like we'll both see it eventually. Like maybe we'll be at work at the time, but like when we have like chances, like we always check in on the page. And see what's going on.
I know. I at least check in. I try to post every day. I check in on the page at least once a day, just see is anybody anyone comment anything, anyone have any questions. We're gonna set up a actually we don't have to set it up. If you guys have any questions you want to ask for us to do a Q&A. Post it on any of the posts we have put.
Yeah, like you can post it on any of the like. I'll probably end up making a post on the Instagram. You can definitely post it in the comments of like this video or any video really. Or just ask us on the Facebook page. Like
or message us. We'll write it down. We do want to do a Q&A question that's only Q&A and maybe a little bit of news, but just let us know, guys.
Yeah, one of the things we're looking at doing is just kind of like every week just having like a fan question and just like answer it and just, kind of give, we'll shout you out if you're the one that has the question. Like we'll, gladly shout you out and like we'll try and answer it to, like the best of our abilities. The fact that we'll know it ahead of time, we'll have some chance to like really do some research on it.
Yeah, and to really
And
get
we'll
a
see,
good opinion rather than
yeah,
just
we'll
being
see,
blindsided.
yeah, we'll see how like really deep we can go with this thing and see like and come up with just like the best answer to see, see what's going on. We've got some guests coming up. I've got one of my friends coming on. She's a big cosplayer. She loves Star Wars, loves Marvel. She's going to be coming on. We're going to do like a little interview with her here in a couple weeks. So like we've got like other people coming on that like we're going to all support each other.
Oh yeah, we also have this will grow over time. They'll eventually be, it won't just be me and him, it'll be, me, him, maybe another person or two. To where, because, more people, you get a bigger conversation. You get more varied opinions.
Yeah, and we're gonna have like some more of our, like some other friends that we've worked with that were also part of these conversations at work that we've had that kind of led us to start this. So, we're gonna let them have some time on here too, just kind of give their opinions, because that some of the things that they said were just, just as good as what we've been talking about. And we'll always love to like riff off everybody else, see how good of stuff that we can make.
Yeah.
And like this is just the first episode of many. Like we're not going anywhere for a while. So like we're just gonna keep it up, keep it going, and I'm gonna try and convince my friend. He's like a grip operator up in he works up in Atlanta. So I think he's still shooting on The Walking Dead right now for their final season. One of his last credits that I can't wait to see is he worked on Coming to America 2.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Yeah, like he has the hoodie that it's just got like the crew, like it says like it's got Coming to America 2 on it. It's got like crew on the back, and he flexes it on us like all the time. Like he wears them on his streams on Twitch. Oh, absolutely. Some of the bigger, like he worked on Black Panther. So he's worked in the Marvel industry before. Like he tells the stories all the time, about just like working with like Samuel L. Jackson and just like how not. So one of the things, speaking of just to how good of a person Chadwick Boseman was, like he told us a story about how Chadwick Boseman like took the crew out for like after they finished rapping, like he took the crew, like he rented out an entire fancy restaurant in Atlanta and covered the bill for the entire crew just as a way to say thank you.
Yeah.
And that was just so cool to hear about, just because like that's something that like I would have never known if I didn't just happen to know somebody that worked there.
Oh, exactly.
He worked on he's got credits on like Hidden Figures. He's got he filmed the pilot for the what is it, Doom? Is it? No, it's the DMZ, that pilot's coming out in a while. Like he obviously can't tell me what goes on, but
obviously, like, I'm sure he has a lot of NDAs, and
he said that the NDA for when he worked on Black Panther was at least 1.5 inches thick of just papers.
That is a lot.
True to his word, he didn't say nothing. Like I don't even think I knew that he worked on it until he posted a picture on Instagram, because it came out the day the movie premiered. Like he had a picture of him on set, like filming the the fight scene between Killmonger and Black Panther when they were on the subway, like the underground. He had a picture of him on set, like filming that scene. I was like, man, you didn't even tell me. But I'm gonna try and convince him to maybe come on here. Like we're gonna do some Zoom stuff and get some like interviews for people, and so.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of stuff he can't talk about, but anything he can, I'm sure we would be more than happy to listen to it.
Amazon Prime bought Coming to America 2. Like they took it off the movie pool of because they weren't gonna get it into a movie theater anytime soon. So I would imagine that Amazon Prime will just kind of put that thing out for free, just to kind of get people to maybe want to sign up. And then if that happens, like maybe he can tell us some stuff that went on behind the scenes. Like we can get him on here.
Oh yeah, I'd love to hear it.
But yeah, like this, we'll just kind of wrap it up here for today. We've been here for like 1.5 hours. We're not gonna bleed your ears to death. We'll wait for next week to do that.
Oh yeah.
But we'll be back next week. Probably around same, maybe like Wednesday, Thursday time.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and get like the episodes out we're gonna try every Wednesday. Maybe it might have to wait till like a Thursday every now and then.
Yeah, because life happens, This isn't our full-time gig yet.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we'd love to get it there, but it's not there yet. So until it is,
We
still
got-
got to go to work.
We still got to pay bills. All right. Well, anything else? Anything else you want to add?
No, I mean we pretty much covered it all. Anything? I was about to say we'll have if there's any topics you want us to discuss, like you can put them down. We'll talk